Hello everyone, and welcome to my first Hunter x Hunter manga read along. I'm not starting at chapter 1. Let me quickly give you an overview of my Hunter x Hunter journey. So, a couple of years ago, I'm pretty sure Blackblade sponsored my reactions to the 2011 show. And just to put it all out there, I really liked it, but I didn't like it enough, according to the fans. And they made it really, really difficult to enjoy it. They were just a very difficult bunch. So at some point, I did have to take a break because my interactions with the fandom was starting to influence my opinion on the show. So I took a break once I noticed that that was happening. And then when I came back, it was better, but not completely gone yet. But I finished it and I liked it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And then I definitely liked it enough to eventually, after, giving it some time for the fandom to just occupy a smaller part of my brain, eventually their voices died down. New fandoms replaced that annoying one, and so on and so on. I did read the manga on my own from chapter 1 to 3, well, wherever the anime ended, the 2011 anime. And actually, so I have a journal that I try and post something in every day, which now is very confusing to me. Wait. Let me just see. I have a post somewhere recently. Here we go. This is from, so I was reading this 2 years ago, 2024. I was at this point in the manga. And I wrote, Netero is pretty badass and interesting. And I'm looking forward to more of this arc. So the page that I took a screenshot of is a conversation between Netero and the Meruem. And the Meruem says, I think you may be another. If you lay down your arms, I may still spare you. And Netero said, but only me, right? That's not a deal I'm in a position to accept. So 8 out of 10. Blasphemous. Well, it really was. Bye, Waleed. See you next time. It really was blasphemous to some. And I do this with every single anime that I watch, though. Even my absolute favorite anime, which is, well, my top 3, as far as I remember, Fruits Basket, One Piece, and it used to be NGE, but it keeps getting replaced. My third place is very loose. But anyway, no matter how much I love any show, I will always tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. I think that's what makes it interesting, like discussions and stuff, and nothing is perfect. So I approached Hunter x Hunter in the exact same way. I would talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. But of course, everything is just opinions, right? Anyway, I'm not going to delve into the drama. I did like this show. 8 out of 10 is a very good score. I read the manga and I had a much more enjoyable experience because no one was breathing down my neck. I didn't score it that much higher though. I think I gave the manga's like an 8.5 to me because it just feels like, there's still so much story to go. So and each arc kind of changes a lot. So it's the kind of story that you more score per arc. And if the arcs are very different and it focuses on completely different characters, of course you're going to have different experiences depending on who you like and what kind of themes you like and what kind of world you're interested in. So I really enjoyed my manga read along a lot. But overall, on average, I didn't give it a much higher score anyway, but the experience was so much better. But I am excited. I don't think a lot of people will check in for manga read along, so I don't really think there will be more issues, but we'll see as the days go on. Funny enough, I've been talking to my patrons about, or I've been talking to the community for a while, like, ooh, should I continue? Should I not continue? I even, now that I think about it, give me a second. Um, while I was in Japan, a new volume of Hunter x Hunter came out. It's volume 38. So I actually bought this in Japan, and I can't read it because obviously I haven't reached this point. It's still wrapped, as you can see. But yeah, this is, I don't know what chapters these cover, but I also, funny enough, I watched one or two clips from some kind of stage play in Japan. And let me tell you, like, I don't like live actions. I never thought stage play, but man, did they do it good. Like, it was a Hisoka scene and some other things. I just watched like a clip, but they did so good. It actually works really well as I know I'm not a live action, it's a stage play. So anyway, before we continue, oh right. I was always like battling, should I keep reading or should I not? Will we ever get an anime? Should I wait for anime reactions? But I knew, that would take forever. So eventually I broke down and I added this to my weekend stream for this weekend. But technically, I'm planning to read it only whenever there is no One Piece manga chapter coming out. So about once a month, Oda doesn't post a new chapter. So that's when I'll be reading 2 or 3 chapters of Hunter x Hunter, depending on, the content, the length, how long it takes, the discussions. And then, lo and behold, another 10 chapters are scheduled to come out over the next few weeks. But I think we've been hearing about it for a long time. Togashi has been working in advance to make a couple of chapters, ahead of time so they can be posted regularly. So yeah, it's pretty cool that it's coming back. For how long? Who knows? Maybe for good. Who knows? But I'm just here to see where the story goes from here because I love Kurapika and I need to find out what happens. So I'm really hoping that eventually it gets touched on. So I really want to continue the story. I mean, who starts a story, likes it, and then of course you're going to be sad if you never get to see the ending. So that's why I had to read the manga at some point. Then there was a character introduced or mentioned in the Ant arc, some guy with a hoodie, and we got to see a little bit of his backstory, and it was so mysterious. And I always thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, the seed was planted, it needs to sprout, So I have a feeling that the story could still go so many places, and that's why I'm really excited to read it. Espada asked me earlier, I'm not mature enough to hear, I hope it gets touched on and not laugh. Yeah, Jairo, that guy. So there's just still so many threads, to follow. I'm very excited. But Espada asked, what do I remember from the anime before I do the recap? Because I do have a little recap planned to just kind of like check each arc. But I remember almost everything. It's not like Naruto where I forgot like details. We could do a freaking quiz. Does anyone want to quiz me? See if I can. I mean, I remember so much more than I usually would because I've watched the anime and then I read the manga, and so I actually cemented it a bit better in my brain than most things that I just kind of binge watch. Oh, peak. I actually forgot about that. Thanks, Sotos. So I mean, I know where the story starts. With And I know the difference between the manga and the anime with Kaito. Uh, and his introduction. And then Gon's on to raise him like a mother, and his dad, and we don't know anything about his mom, which always frustrates me. And I hope that I really wanted to break the mold there, but I don't really expect it to. Like, his dad's this big presence in his life, but his mother is barely mentioned. Like, she doesn't matter. There's also a side story manga about Kurapika's backstory. the 1999 version adapted it and 2011 skipped it. So then we might not get more. What did... Oh, shit. What did Ging say to Gon at the end of the anime? That's a very specific question. Why would you... I said test me. Like more general things. Well, I remember they were at the top of a tree, and he said something. Who you can't be trusted with your kids, Hisoka. Definitely. So they went on a ship together. He met Kurapika and Leorio first. Leorio wants to be a doctor, which is also really, really interesting, but he doesn't have money, so he's going about it with the hunter license way. I don't know how to prove to you that I remember things. I remember everything. Like, if you show me, I'll be like, oh yes, that happened, and then that happened, and then Ikalgo was there. But do you want me to recap anything specific, or can I do the little recap? Who is the new chairman? Oh, the blonde guy wanted to be, but there was this whole fight about it. Oh shoot, I don't know who won. That's probably one of the things that I remember the least. The blonde guy win. And they have the zodiac signs, right? Shoru, I can relate to that. He won, but he didn't want it. Really? He didn't want it? And he explained it pretty well too. He was... Okay, maybe I do. I definitely need this recap. So let's quickly take a look. Who is the hottest woman in Hunter x Hunter, and why is it the broom woman? Actually, she's the vacuum woman. She's got a vacuum. The blonde guy troll resigned and gave it to the dog girl. Shit, for real? Maybe we should start with the Lost Ark. Cause, well, let's see. Hunter Exam Arc was episode 1 to 21. We meet Gon, a cheerful boy from Whale Island who learns that his father is alive and is a legendary hunter, an elite licensed adventurer who can access restricted areas, treasure, information, and dangerous jobs. Gon decides to become a hunter to understand why his father chose that life. Along the way, he meets his core friend group: Killua, a genius kid from a family of assassins; Kurapika, the lost survivor of the Kurta clan seeking justice; and Leorio, pallid knight, loud but kind, aspiring doctor. The hunter exam is brutal and deadly. The candidates face endurance trials, survival tests, trick questions, and combat. So if the recap gets anything wrong, feel free to point that out. The main idea is that hunters live in a ruthless world. Gon has freakishly strong instincts, and Killua is a terrifyingly talented assassin, but emotionally isolated. We also meet Hisoka, a dangerous magician-like fighter who becomes one of the series' most unpredictable wild cards. Bungee gum, which has the same properties of bungee and gum. How does that go again? The takeaway from the arc is that the four boys form a bond, but the exam reveals how dark the world really is. Then there is the Zoldyck family arc from episode 22 to 26. That seems very short. After the exam, it seems pretty short for a family as interesting as the Kurapikas, huh? After the exam, Killua returns home to the infamous Zoldyck assassin family. Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio travel to rescue him. We learn that Killua was raised to kill, his family loves him in a twisted and controlling way, and he desperately wants normal friendship. Important family members include Illumi, the manipulative older brother. He's the one that is friends with Hisoka. Silva the father, and the Miluki. The arc takeaway: Killua chooses Gon over the assassin life for now. Heaven's Arena arc: Gon and Killua enters. This is where they meet the guy that teaches them about Nen, right? And that little kid, what is his name? Sushi. Gon and Killua enter Heaven's Arena, a giant battle tower where fighters climb floors by winning matches. This arc introduces the most important power system, Nen. Nen is life energy slash aura manipulation. The major principles are aura control, offense and defense, and personal ability creation. And what one of my favorite things is with the abilities is that you can strengthen your ability by placing restrictions on yourself. Like Kurapika's has this insane power, but I think it's limited only to like spiders, or there's some heavy limitation, and the kind of like the worse the limitation, or the stronger the power that can come from it. Something like that. Which I find very interesting because it's kind of like in life, you have to give up something to get something. Like, if you want to get really good at something, you give up a lot of your time to practice it, or just not always every person, but let's say a lot of people they dream of having a lot of money, but then they never see their families because they have to sacrifice that time to work. And it kind of reminded me of that, but make it magic and make it, double down. You have to sacrifice or limit in order for great strength, or I don't know. The Nen types are enhancement, emission, manipulation, transmutation, conjuration, and the specialization. I remember I did a quiz or something to figure out my type, and I do think this is one of the most fun or interesting power systems. I agree with that in anime. It's definitely very creative. Gon and Killua train under Wing. Hisoka becomes important again as Gon prepares for a rematch. Hisoka. Arc takeaway. This arc transforms Hunter x Hunter from adventure anime into a deeply strategic battle series. Then there's my favorite arc, which is the York New City arc. The tone shifts. It becomes a crime thriller slash mafia drama. The central villains are the Phantom Troop, a notorious band of thieves. Their leader, Krollo Lucifer. Kurapika takes center stage. We finally learn about his trauma. The Kurta clan were massacred, and their scarlet eyes were stolen and sold. The killers, the Phantom Troop. Kurapika dedicates his life to revenge. There are major themes of vengeance, morality, obsession, and grief. This arc is famous because nobody feels fully good or evil. Sure. No one's evil. No. If you can gouge out people's eyes and sell them on the black market. But, as long as you're pretty, that makes you morally ambiguous. Arc takeaway. Kurapika's hatred makes him incredibly powerful but dangerous to himself. So that was my favorite arc. And it really did feel like each arc is almost like a new show, but they blend together very nicely. It's just that the tone shifts can sometimes be a little bit jarring. Especially, when you go from watching your favorite and then suddenly they're gone and it's like, ah. But anyway, I also really liked. Wait. Oh my gosh. He's like freaking the Death Note guy looking over my shoulder. Thanks for that. The Greed Island arc was also very creative, very fun. I don't remember why I didn't like it as much, but I think it's partly just because it came after an arc I was super invested in and I wasn't ready to let go of yet. Kurapika almost lost himself to darkness, but unlike Sasuke, he chose his friends. That's one way to look at it, yeah. I like how we can We can miss Gon for a long time and it's still good. Okay. Gon and Killua search for clues about Jing. That leads them to Greed Island, a mysterious game that is actually a real world Nen challenge. This arc feels like RPG, training, and a treasure hunt. They train under Biscuit Kruger, aka Bisky. She looks cute and harmless, but she's not. Gon and Killua become vastly stronger and gain a new antagonist, Genthru. All right. That was very that looking back, like that's a really fun arc. The arc takeaway though is that the boys have matured and Gon gets closer to his father's trail. And literally the whole game was kind of made for Gon, right? That was kind of something that was hinted at. I really liked there was a little self-insert character, right? With Togashi. There was a joke that always stood out to me where Jing changed his name so that it fits some kind of pun. And he was like, oh, it's just the spelling of his name. And so maybe his name was, I don't know, something with a K, but then he spelled it with a C so that it fits the pun or something. And then the guy was always so pissed at Jing, and it shows like Jing's selfishness because he doesn't care about his actual name. I don't know why I thought that was really funny. And then everyone's favorite, at least the one that people were the most obsessed with, that I had to, that this is 10 out of 10. This is Whew, and it kind of like puts the pressure on a lot. I think when, as a reactor and people are telling you basically you better like this, like it. This is the largest and most famous arc. The genre shifts again and it becomes more like horror, war drama, philosophy, and tragedy. A new species appears, the Chimera ants. These creatures evolve by consuming other life forms and passing traits to offspring. The threat escalates when they begin consuming humans. The important characters are Meruem, Neferpito, Shia Poof, more like Shia P on his boss's head. He's like, I had to save you. Things almost got dangerous. Why is he tied up like that? Why is he tied up? Oh, that's Kurapika's power. I see. He kind of looks like he's having too much fun with that though. It's a very Hisoka kind of. No. So Men Tutu Yopi and Isaac Netero. And Netero also was I think he was the most interesting character for me in this arc when I was reading it. But this was the point where the fandom started to influence my enjoyment. So I had to pause it at some point. So I don't remember anything that I said though. Uh Espada, you watched my reactions to this at one point. If you remember stuff that I said or thought, feel free to add some perspective. This arc explores huge questions. What makes humans human? Are monsters always monsters? And can humans be crueler than beasts? It also pushes Gon to his psychological breaking point. This is where the series becomes emotionally devastating. So that was because of Kaito, right? And the Neferpito. The arc takeaway, the monster versus human line completely collapses, and many fans consider this one of the anime's greatest arc. Oh no, not one of, just the greatest arc. So from here, I think it gets a little bit less. Everything up to this point I remember very clearly, and after this, that's where I think I'm. It's just the election arc, I guess, that I don't remember as well. I only remember your reaction when Gon transformed and the narrator was explaining the whole episode. I did not like his transformation. I think I thought it was hilarious though. But I also, yes, I got really annoyed with the narrator. No, that's good. The game arc. You said it wasn't as good as it could have been, basically. But that makes sense because, like I said, probably I couldn't enjoy it as much because the tone shift was very sudden between one of my favorite arcs with one of my favorite characters to suddenly, different characters, different tone. So it was definitely difficult to adjust, but the concept is really, really fun. And I just wish, well, I had a better time with it in the manga. That's what I remember. You said it was an underdeveloped game with the cards. Yeah, because it's like he made this game world, but this could be its own show, like, but it's not. So they can't go as in detail as something like that sometimes would need to really make it interesting. But it was still fun. Like I said, my enjoy. Sorry, I'm looking for my footstool. It's not as good as it could have been. What people hear, this is trash, 0 out of 10. I just think that it had more potential as its own thing rather than. But like I said, it was going from this to this to this. So sometimes I was just a little bit disoriented, I think. I think if I was watching this weekly or reading it weekly, it's probably a better experience. I don't know. I don't know. I'll never know. I do really like the themes of the Chimera Ant arc, but if I had to recommend personally a manga, not a show, but a manga that did similar themes brilliantly, like just personally for me, this was it. That's the problem, I guess, sometimes with Hunter x Hunter is like every arc could be its own show, but then it's not. So then my brain refers to shows that handled the same kind of topics, but then it was its own show. So it could do it perfectly in my mind. Like it could delve more deeply into the theme. So for example, the Chimera Ant arc was very interesting, but the show or the story that did it the best for me and could really go into the nitty gritty and the philosophical side of these discussions was The Promised Neverland. So yeah, Chimera Ant arc touches on the topics, introduces the themes and asks the questions, but then it never goes anywhere with it. Sometimes a little bit, not enough, not far enough for what I would like from a show that shows me it has the potential, but then, well, we only have 40 episodes and now we're moving on to the next one and then the next one and then there's freaking Jing. But I do think that there were very key concepts that were introduced in the Chimera Ant arc that are gonna come back later, and I'm very excited about it. Okay. To be fair, we went from Kurapika's story to an aunt playing chess with a blind girl and actually losing. An ant! No, we went from Kurapika's arc to Greed Island, which was like a light but deadly game, and then to, yeah, the tone shifts are quite big here and there if you look at them from very far. Okay, but then we finish up with the election arc, episode 137 to 148. After the Ant arc, the Hunter Association must choose a new chairman. You know, when you said new chairman, a little part of my brain deleted the part with why we needed a new chairman. Meanwhile, Killua focuses on saving Gon. This arc introduces a major Zoldyck family member, Aluka. Aluka possesses terrifying wish-granting abilities. We also finally get major focus on Paris Hilton, and the Jing. The political games inside the Hunter Association are wild. Killua's loyalty shines here. Killua's the key takeaway is Killua's character growth becomes one of the anime's emotional peaks. But once again, it's a relatively short arc with insanely strong, like, look at this visual. I mean, that could be its own show. And it's only 11 episodes. I'm not saying it should be its own show, but for me, what would have, in my mind, what I wish there's a world line where this was a weekly manga for at least 10 years. And I want the arcs to be much longer. And instead of going starkly in, okay, 20 episodes, 10 episodes, 40 episodes, from one to the next, I need them to be like lengthened, and the transition from one to the next needs to be a little bit like more integrated. In my mind, if you could do that over 10 years, this would be on the same level as, well, I don't want to compare, but I just think that would have made it what other people see it already as for my brain. So other people already see it as, like the greatest anime of all time, but it would be a contender for me if those things could happen, maybe in another world, another universe, another timeline. No, not Mao Mao. What do you mean Mao Mao? That's gone, and that's Killua and Aluka. Okay, then the anime's endpoint. At the end, Gon reaches an important milestone with Jing. Killua chooses a new purpose. Kurapika and Leorio still have unresolved paths. Yes! And that's what I'm very interested in. Kurapika and Leorio's unresolved paths. What was the new purpose that Killua... Was it... I remember Killua and Gon talking about, like, their future, and I... But what was his... And the world becomes much bigger than Gon imagined. That's why fans constantly beg for more. The anime ends at a satisfying pause, but not a true ending. If I had to summarize each arc in one sentence: Hunter exam, friendship in a brutal world. Zoldyck, freedom versus family control. Heaven's Arena, learning Nen. York New, revenge and moral ambiguity. Greed Island, growth through training. Chimera Ant, humanity, monstrosity, despair, and the election is healing and new beginnings. Killua was pleading with Gon to stop wearing shorts. His brain it's brain damaging when he evolves. Oh, it is. It is. Okay, so that's kind of like an overview of where we are up to this point, and a little discussion about, some things that really hit for me and some things that I would have liked to see more of so that I could fully immerse myself. But there were many standout characters and seeds that were planted that I'm excited to see how they develop over time. So, are we going to jump in? I have about an hour, 45 minutes, and then a wind down. So, I think we can do 2 chapters depending on. Gon and Killua separate at the end. Oh, to each follow their own. Guys, I think I should read that chapter first. Like, you said. Wait. Okay, so I'm reading it on the Shonen Jump app. This is where it looks like I already read 339. But I think I should start with 339. What do you guys think? Okay. Also, Jing talks about the Dark Continent. Australia. The recap forgot at the end of the anime, Gon meets Jing, and Jing reveals that there's a new world he has yet to explore. Yes, I'm going to read that so we can get a little recap ourselves also. So chapter 339 is called Stillness. We'll need a lot of things to get there, at least 4 just to get started. Permission, the means, qualifications, and a contract. I don't have any of them yet, but I'm not in a special hurry. I'm enjoying the journey. So if your destination is the same as mine, enjoy the side trips a lot. Something more important than the thing you're hunting could be right there by the side of the road. So he's like a journey, not the destination kind of guy. Like, if the destination is being a good dad, he'll make sure to take every detour along the way, as long as he's having fun. Oh, do you remember that moment when doesn't Leorio like punch him or something? I don't remember, but I just remember having and then Leorio was still in the running. Wasn't he in the running for the election? Oh my gosh. So then him and his dad spend a lot of time talking and making jokes, and Uncle Mito, Uncle, Aunt, what's her name? Mito. She gets a letter and some money, I guess. Then the smoker guy, he seems to talk to someone about, I don't know, what does this imply? I can't tell. And then he calls someone, a bottle of champagne is delivered, and it costs a lot of money, and they drink. And then, oh, Netero's picture. They had a bit. Oh. What was the bit? Oh, that his people will do it, or his people will do it. Oh wait, this is the guy that lost all his hair. Is it him? Oh my gosh, that was quite the. So then who wins the bit? Cause he bet that his dishes will do it, and then. But anyway, so they get really expensive champagne and they drink together. Oh no, they leave a glass for. Oh, that's sweet. I read this in 2024, so I mean it's been 2 years. I don't remember these things. And then there's just like birds flying and Gon looking excited, and why is he with Bippo? Or were these the team that was doing the research with the Chimera ants and stuff? Who are they again? I vaguely remember this team. Kite's team. Kaito! Oh, I forgot it was his team. And then we have, oh, this is so sweet, Ikalgo and the, oh, I forgot his name, the chameleon guy, and the knuckle and shoot, and this lady, I once claimed her in Waifu Wars, and then I divorced her when I remembered that, but she's interesting. But she's kind of like Hisoka-ish. Very Hisoka adjacent, you know? Young Kuma, young Brook, probably Laboon. Okay, so they get to see through the video, I guess, the birds like mass. What do you call it when birds migrate? They migrate. So it looks like a mass migration, and the friends get to see it. She's like Yukako from JoJo's Part 4. Mm-hmm. And then we have Killua and Aluka, and everyone is watching. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, it's Kurapika, and in front of him, it looks like he's got all the eyes of his people, or like at least maybe all of them that still exist in the world. So like one, two, three, four, five. Looks like five sets of eyes, unless each of these things contain two eyes. I don't remember, but there's just like one bowl floating around in each bottle. So what does that mean? Where is he? Looks like he's still in York New. But he had melody in his life, and I think Kurapika should be okay. Then there's some of the members, the butlers of the Kurapika family, and they're at the grave, but the guy reveals he didn't die. And there's a maze. The underground. Oh, the shogi. So it just shows like they died together after a spirited match of shogi. The glasses guy was killed by Hisoka. But he wasn't, because they have a grave, but then that was a rabbit. But he transforming. I don't understand. Wait. So they go to his grave, he was killed, and then he comes out of nowhere. And then they're like, "Who are you?" And then it's the rabbit guy. Who's the rabbit guy? Is this Bunny Girl Senpai? Okay, well then I don't know understand that part, but do I need to understand it? Probably. So then the other guy, maybe it was someone else that died and not him, because maybe I don't understand. The rabbit guy pretends to be the butler, so Killua doesn't get depressed about the butler's death. Why would he care about whether Killua is sad or not? The rabbit. I thought maybe another rabbit died. And he's the rabbit that was always. No, I don't understand. The guy with the glasses was never a rabbit. The rabbits or who? They were people that helped with the exams or something, but why are they here now? I think I am not remembering something, but I'm not gonna dwell on it for too long. You can explain it in the comments later, because I really want to get to the actual chapter that I'm supposed to read. Okay. At the end, there's a little picture in the corner that says, "Name that tune." You don't mind if I win? I'm only here for the PR. I'm not clever or mature enough to tilt the balance in your favor. And then ding! Kurapika doesn't know any pop culture trivia. So I guess it was like he was on a game show or something. The rabbits helped Gon and met with Killua when he took the exam again. Yes. Why do they That might be true, Sotos. I don't know. But okay, here we go. For the first time ever, I'm clicking 340. The chapter is called Special Mission. So if I was confused before, buckle up. It's about to get worse. I'm joking. Everyone, big trouble, says Beans. Perfect timing. Have a seat. Cheadle was about to speak. You're not gonna quit, are you, Chairman? Don't worry. The likelihood of that is equal to your manners improving. That sounds urgent. Yes, watch this. So then he turns on a projector. Vast amount of resources, food, untapped reserves for a plentiful future for humanity. Who's that? Kakin's king, Hui Guo. Like 99% of kids know that. Vast amounts of... Hold on, he can't mean. We, the Kakin Empire, declare we shall carry the dreams of humanity and advance our reach to the dark continent. Wait, is that Africa? I was making a joke about Australia. Do they mean Africa? I know they don't mean anything, but I do think the dark continent is an actual... It's an outdated colonial era nickname for Africa. It was popularized in the 19th century by European explorers and journalists. Today, historians broadly view the term as offensive. It reflects a Eurocentric mindset. Ah. I don't know. It's just like, instead of calling it the unknown continent, it's like, it's shrouded in mystery and darkness. I'm going to go with that. Just because they're going to keep calling it the dark continent. I just think it's the mysterious continent. Like, we haven't explored there yet. It's shrouded in, you know, depends. Look if they have water. So, they want to reach the dark continent. I knew it. The dark continent, the forbidden region, and the ultimate taboo. What's that? For real? What do you know? What kind of hunter are you? It's outside. I think I'm this guy. What's his name? Tiger? Tiger Zodiac? I'm him. Sometimes. It's outside the world map. Magical beasts are said to originate there. Hey, we have a snake girl? Look, Sotos. She said beasts. Whenever humanity tried to venture there in the past, ancient manuscripts describe great calamities. Over 200 years ago, the Continental V5 Forum signed a treaty agreeing to leave it alone. It's nonsense to be tied down by superstitions spread by countries now in decline. The time has come for a rising nation, the driving force behind modern society, to open a new door. Do they actually have a plan? New? Only in name. Their economic growth has made them cocky enough to ignore the treaty. So they want to lead the rest of the world. Did Kakin ever sign the treaty? Didn't everyone have to? They may not have. Kakin made the transition from social imperialism to parliamentary democracy in the most silent revolution in history 30 years ago. By taking the royal name out of the name of their country, they technically became a new nation. They may have neglected to renew treaties. Maybe it would be unethical, but not a target for sanctions. This is big news. No, not yet. The real problem is coming up. Just watch. To lead the dark... To lead the Dark Continent expedition team, we've acquired the most qualified person. The leader of the greatest specialists in the world, a veteran among fighters in active service his whole life, the legendary pro hunter Isaac Netero. Let the man rest. What? His son? I thought they got some kind of rabbit to pretend to be him. Turns out it's his son, Captain Beyond the Netero. Ah, shit. He's tall. Chairman Netero had a son? He had no family. We need to confirm this. My beloved father always used to say, when you stop challenging yourself, your life is over. Deciphering myths and exploring ruins, we learn where our ancient ancestors came from. Is there a need to confirm? No matter how many obstacles stand in the path to our goal, I promise I will remove them. There's something the recap didn't say. When the queen died, they found a baby which Colt kept safe. And when the baby grew up, he or she said his name was Kite. Oh, I think I read that though, because wasn't there a farm or something? I remember that chapter. There was a farm and the wheat growing really tall. I don't remember what I wrote something about it in my journal, but finding it is going to be impossible. I have to check every day for the next couple of weeks. But don't worry to like let me know about stuff that it missed right now, because if I experience them in the manga and I'm like shocked and surprised, you can then remind me like, oh, actually in that chapter this was mentioned, and like it can maybe make for a good reaction. So, age, gender, nationality, employment, race, none of it matters. Everyone deserves an equal opportunity. I will turn down no challenger. Anyone who wants to win this new land is my family. Each person will have a role to play. All you need is the courage to step forward. Come one, come all to Kakin. Let us go to the new world. I promise to take you there. And then everyone's heart pounds. And the broadcast ends. Everyone is wavering. I don't blame them. Even I heard the chairman in his speech. So actually, the chairman left 2 DVDs. He knew this would happen. Here, he told me to show this to all the Zodiacs, if anyone came forward claiming to be his child. He knew? Sotos, you're really gonna like the snake girl. Look at her. For real? Let's watch it. Idiot. He said all of us. There are 2 missing. Oh, come on. It'll take forever to track down Jing. Pariston is usually in his office at this time. No, he's not vice chairman anymore. Oh, yeah. We have to decide on that too. Pariston? Oh, wait. Was your talk about choosing a vice chairman, Cheeto? Later. Message first. We might find Pariston. Jing won't even answer his phone. Quiet. I'll make my speech first. As it turns out, it's not unrelated. So that's what the dog girl says. But then when you turn the page, we are at the guy who claims to be Netero's son. Over 100 million views on iTube in an hour. iTube. 100,000 phone lines can't keep up with the flood of applications. Great, keep taking them. The king received a formal request from V5 to withdraw the announcement and sign the treaty. Tell him to ignore it. They've been asleep for centuries. What do you need to do? What do you need to do to follow the V5 rules anyway? Oh, this guy, I've seen him roll in Waifu Wars. Got like loopy hair. You must send an application for passage to an emergency operated by V5, an agency, sorry. You have to send an application for passage to an agency operated by the V5 if you want to go to the Dark Continent, I guess. In order to apply, there are procedures to follow at each country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You would be tied up for a month apiece by contracts and briefings. That's 5 months total. You need 3 letters of introduction from members of the applicant's Congress to see the section chief. You're still not guaranteed acceptance. Who cares? Stop your yammering. They'd make me sit around for years waiting for permission to play by their little club rules. Then, after dropping a fortune, I might get to accompany the expedition on a supervised sightseeing tour. I want to go where no one has gone before, meet people nobody has met, and acquire things that nobody has touched. And then it shows his team, I guess. There's like a loopy, the loopy hair guy or woman, I'm not sure. You can't make any assumptions in Hunter x Hunter especially. Then there looks someone that kind of reminds me a teeny tiny bit of Melody, but it's like a lollipop mushroom hatted character. Emo Sanji. I don't know, a cute girl that was pouring him alcohol. And then this character I've also seen roll in Waifu Wars. And this guy looks like Japanese Popeye. I want to explore without bounds, in the great wide open, leaving my mark on virgin territory. Look who is there. I won't turn down anyone who joins or chases after anyone who leaves. Sorry, let me read that again. I won't turn down anyone who joins or chase after anyone who leaves, but I'll crush anyone who tries to interfere. So then we have also the robot girl, robot plankton, mushroom haircut, and a chef that has Hisoka makeup. I'm joking. And then Pariston is there. The rat, Pariston, and the boar, Jing, both submitted requests to leave the Zodiacs, and I approved. Ooh, so the 10 of us are everyone. I think we can have a look at that message. One more thing. This is important. We have a special mission, direct from V5. Hunt down beyond Netero. So, like, assassinate? I mean, isn't that a Kurapika Zoldyck family? No, not Kurapika. The Zoldyck family. Why are they being told? Interesting. So that's a chapter. So what do we learn? Someone is claiming to be Netero's son. They want to explore the Dark Continent, which is also what Jing was interested in, right? Jing and Pariston have left the Zodiacs. The Zodiacs have been ordered by V5. What is V5? Like the Gorosei? Like the world government? That's interesting because Gorosei are also 5 and the V5 is 5. Are they like the United Nations? Like an organization? The United Nations is an international organization founded in 1945, currently comprising of 193 member states. So it seems to be something like that, but much more concentrated. Instead of 193, it's five. There are officially 7 recognized continents in the world: Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, and Europe, and Australia, also often referred to as Oceania. So the V5 is kind of like the 5 continents of that world. There's no official universal rule for defining continents. Depending on geography, culture, and geology, different models do exist. So in this, there is a 6-continent model which combines Europe and Asia into a single continent, Eurasia. This model is commonly used in parts of Eastern Europe and Russia. There's a 6-continent model, American, which combines North America and South America into the Americas, resulting in Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Europe, Oceania, and the Americas. And then there is a 5-continent model, which recognizes Africa, Eurasia, and the Americas, Australia, and Antarctica. This is the model used by the Olympic rings, which feature 5 interconnected rings representing the inhabited continents. So, from a strictly geological standpoint, there's a 4-continent model which groups land masses by major continuous landmass blocks: Afro-Eurasia, Americas, Antarctica, and Australia. And there's also an 8-continent model. But this world, at the very least, it seems to have a 5-continent model. And these 5 continents somehow signed a treaty about, wait, would the dark continent then be a 6th? So there's 5 continents that came together and said, we're not going to go to the dark continent because calamities happen. But now it seems like, what is the Kikan Kingdom? It's like a place inside one of these continents, but they're technically not affiliated anymore because they've kind of like recreated themselves, and therefore this new place hasn't signed the treaty yet. But so maybe the V5 connects the 5 continents, but there's multiple groups within each continent that signed the treaty. But now one place has kind of found a loophole, right? Okay. And that sets up the new arc. Jing and Pariston are free. Beyond Netero. Why does that sound familiar? Like, isn't that one of his moves? Or didn't he go beyond Netero, like going SSJ 2? So yeah, the chapter title for 340, which I just finished, was Special Mission. So their special mission is to assassinate Beyond Netero. Why are we laughing? What did I say? Okay, anyway, interesting. Let's continue. Oh, SSJ 4. This chapter 341 is called Threats. You signed the contract? Yes. Our job is to do research on travel worldwide and organize a database, taking into account political and social landscapes, biodiversity, and climate, calculate travel risk and conservation level. Ugh, that's a lot of research. Ultimately, we have to assign countries a safety index. Oh. And the special unit you are assigned to has an important job coordinating all the restricted voyage agencies. Yes, I am well aware of it. I think even even our world has like safety countries ranked by safety and stuff. But some countries don't always disclose honest numbers, right? I'm pretty sure our country fudges the numbers on the amount of people who are actually living here, and therefore they're able to make the unemployment rate look a lot better than it, not a lot better, but somewhat better than it is. However, even with that, it's still horrible. It's still, we have a really bad unemployment rate. Just to give a comparison, South Africa's official unemployment rate stands at 32.7%, according to the latest quarterly labor force survey released by Statistics South Africa. Youth unemployment specifically is at 45%, but that counts from age 15 to 34. Why would you count people from 15 to 34? You're not supposed to work at 15, but okay. I do think a lot of people leave school early here, but anyway. So let's just say the average rate is 32%, and then compare it to, I don't know, where do you guys stay? Espada, you're from a first world country. I'm like, I always joke about South Africa being a second world country. Norway. 4.6% for Norway compared to the 32%. Then I don't know, America. America might be too big. You can't really. The US unemployment rate sits at 4.3%, remaining at a historically low level, with the labor market absorbing ongoing job growth. So let's say Greece, because I think Greece should be maybe closer to us. That's still under 10%, and we're at 32%, and they're lying about it. Oh, so you're Morocco. Morocco? 10.8%. So we're getting closer to Africa. So, I mean, you're North Africa, but I mean, you know what I meant. We're getting closer to South Africa numbers, but it's still a third. A third! And they're lying. So, anyway, my point is, these kind of teams and these kind of statistics, they depend on the reliability of the government to disclose honest numbers. I think wasn't there at some point, wasn't China saying that 0 people were dying from COVID, but then other countries were wanting grants, and so they were saying that anyone that died of any sickness is like COVID. Like, we are a population of around 5 to 6 million. But the percentages doesn't, the percentage of your population to not have work, doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter so much as the percentage. Spain is around 11%. They did that in Greece too. Everything was COVID, even strokes or car accidents, because they wanted. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is there are lots of incentives to lie about these things. So whatever the chapter is like leading us in for, keep in mind that people can lie. What is rule number 1 for employees? Rigidly screen applicants for travel to the New World and administer a multilateral and comprehensive inquisition and training process. We are obliged to accompany qualified travelers and make every effort to maximize safety. In other words, don't let anybody go to the New World. So what are they trying to hide, huh? What are they trying to hide, huh? When you have to, keep them on a short leash. And now there's a problem. You mean Kakin? They're doing as they please because they haven't signed the treaty. They bypassed the screening process and are now demanding unlimited access. The biggest problem is that their trip isn't filed under sightseeing but under business colonization. What the gatekeeper of the New World hates most are people who lack manners. New World? Gatekeepers? If negotiations fail at the summit next month, it will be very difficult to stop Kakin. Is it not like the bigger population will have more poverty rate or likely to have? Yes. That doesn't make it better. The point is 34% of people. But that's not necessarily true because Japan has a population of approximately 123 million. South Africa has 70 million. Japan unemployment rate 2.5%. So it's not really an excuse. It's something that sometimes happens, but it's not an excuse. Because you're saying it like, oh, well, but we have a small population. Like, it doesn't matter. The percentage should never go over freaking. Like, once you pass 10% of your people not working, it's a big fucking problem because people have mouths to feed. And. But I mean, we don't have to get into this conversation. The main point I was trying to make is that people lie for various reasons when it comes to statistics. But this is not the kind of team that I thought they were. They're very honest, clearly, from the get-go about being corrupt, but it looks like they only really care about the... Ooh, let's turn the page, because I just turned the page by accident and I saw some floating things. So, I don't know, they're walking through some kind of facility and they're talking about not allowing anyone into the New World. And they're talking about a gatekeeper that hates people who lack manners. If negotiations fail, it will be very difficult to stop Kakin. What would happen? Pandora's box. The lid that must remain closed will be open. A figure of speech. I thought it was absurd too, back when I was young, before I came here. And then there's tubes of like twisted people and severed hands with like an eye on the finger and like bodies. Like these are just very... These look like bodies that went through something otherworldly. Like these look like some voodoo dolls over here. And then, I mean, that just looks like someone that was squashed. And I don't know. They're all human, or they used to be. A book called Journey to the New World was published several centuries ago. Thought to be a lunatic's ramblings. Categorized as fiction at the time, and now its very existence is legendary. Your first job is to read every word. Yes, sir. What was that? What was what? The price humanity paid for stepping into the New World. And it's still happening. I don't understand the flow there. He says, your first job is to read every word of this copy. And he says, yes, sir. What was that? The price humanity paid for stepping into the New World. And it's still happening. You saw quite a number of bodies wrung out like towels. That book has accounts of people who went there and were wrung to death. But these bodies were all discovered on this side. Any record of the victim's passage to the new world? No, that's another problem. Some suggested it was the mafia due to their circle of acquaintances, but the testimony of multiple eyewitnesses refuted that theory. They all say it suddenly happened right before their eyes. Among the witnesses are doctors, teachers, clergy, and cops. If they were all on drugs, well, in a way, I wish that would be the case. Anyway, read it and submit a report by next week. Identify risks of passage to the new world from various perspectives. And then someone like slaps on the gloss and looks. Whoa! The lone survivor is in this room, but it's no longer human. It doesn't eat human food. It's been self-sustaining for almost 50 years. 50? It's unable to die. The Beyond report is more detailed about this. Beyond? It used to be a hunter who went to the new world. So every time we take up this challenge, we flee back carrying an extinction level threat. The result of secret colonization efforts after the V5 Forum formed the treaty. For political reasons, the V5 avoided the Hunter Association and secretly sent in their own research team. My son Beyond is one of the experts in charge of expedition decision making. Ignoring my warnings, he insisted on taking unexplored routes, which led to considerable casualties. He returned and brought back new threats. He wanted to try again, but I forbade it until after my death. And I made it taboo for the Hunter Association as well. So wait, it transitions from the discussion between these two people and this gate, this facility that's trying to keep people out because there are actual, like, really crazy threats. Like, it doesn't seem like they're hiding something. Like, whenever I hear the government doesn't want you to go somewhere, I'm like, what are you hiding? What, you don't want the people to see the truth? But in this case, it looks like there's a really very scary reason, you know? Like, people are being wrung out like towels. But then it weirdly transitions, not weirdly, it's sometimes just difficult in any manga to kind of go with. So it's unable to die. The Beyond report is more detailed about this. So that monster guy that hasn't eaten for 50 years or is self-sustaining, it used to be a hunter who went to the new world. So every time we take up this challenge, this part is where I'm confused at who's saying this, because it goes from, is this like a visual representation of Pandora's box being opened? Every time we take up this challenge, we flee back, carrying an extinction level threat. So every time they even try and set foot, some crazy shit happens. Like, for example, the Chimera Ant arcs could be something that came from. Do we ever really know how they got started? And also, do you remember what was that place? A junkyard where people were living. Where was that? And people came from there. Hi, Katsuya. I forgot. I'll look it up. Let me quickly ask. The queen was from the Dark Continent. Oh! Jing said in the last episode of the anime that the Chimera ants came from the Dark Continent. Oh, I see. Crazy. In And then the junkyard people, were they from the Dark Continent? I don't think so, because one of the characters from the troop. No? Yes? Weren't someone from there? Let me just ask. There was mention of a junkyard place where people lived. What was that? NGL, the isolated country where the early Chimera ant disaster happens. The junkyard place description is easy to miss because Hunter x Hunter layers a lot of world building into brief narration. What NGL was. NGL was anti-technology autonomous region. Its people rejected most modern manufactured goods and tried to live a pure natural life with no electronics, no machines, and no industrial products. This isn't what I meant. Oh, under the surface, NGL was deeply corrupt. Its ruler, Gyro. Wait, is this manga stuff? Was it Meteor City? Oh, here it says here, you might also mean Meteor City. So that's what I mean. There's one other possibility, Meteor City. Meteor City is the literal junkyard city where unwanted people live among mountains of garbage. It's famous for the line, "We accept anything you leave here, but don't ever take anything away from us." That's the home of the Phantom Troop. So depending on the yeah. Meteor City is one of the most mysterious places in Hunter x Hunter because we're never given a precise location on a world map. In universe, it's basically a hidden autonomous region or garbage megacity that exists outside of normal society. Think of it less as a city in this country and more like a stateless territory nobody wants to officially acknowledge. It's built on massive landfills and scrapyards. People are dumped there. Orphans, undocumented people, refugees, criminals, unwanted children become residents. Residents are not registered in official records, so legally they almost don't exist. That's why the famous quote is, "We accept anything you leave here, but don't ever take anything away from us." The line basically means the outside world treats them as disposable. They'll survive anything, but if you harm one of their own, they retaliate brutally. Oh, I remember that. It's the birthplace of many members of the troop, including Krollo, which explains a lot about their us versus the world mentality. So why was I thinking about that? Okay, but anyway, this chapter is titled Threats. So we're given a discussion between an organization that's trying to keep everyone out because there are these horrifying things that are happening. And then this guy is supposed to read a book and write a report on the ramblings of a madman that has become a legend, but it just sounds crazy, but it's probably actually true because of these crazy things that happen. So Meteor City it has nothing to do with the Dark Continent, but Chimera Ant Queen was from the Dark Continent. So then it transitions to, from this page, this seems like Netero is starting to speak in the DVD. For political reasons, the V5 avoided the Hunter Association and secretly sent their own research team. My son, Beyond, is one of the experts in charge of expedition decision making. Wait, what? He wants to go to the continent and he needs permission, but Netero is saying that his son is one of the experts. Ignoring my warnings, he insisted on taking unexplored routes, which led to considerable casualties. He returned and brought back new threats. He wanted to try again, but I forbade it. And I made it taboo for the Hunter Association as well. I have set foot there just twice when I was young, but the strength required was not what I sought. I needed an opponent. I sought strength as an individual, with either victory or defeat as an outcome. But in the new world, it was harsh. It was a harsh battle against Mother Nature, where no victor exists. The strength my son desired was formidable and essential to exploring there. If anything, he's probably more suited to being a hunter than I. Now to the question at hand. I want you to successfully explore the dark continent before my son. How can he ask that of them if he wasn't even willing to do it himself? Overcome any of the risks of the dark continent and return with hope. Difficulty rating is indisputably A. However, this is a request, not an order. It's a selfish desire. Fair enough, at least he's honest about that. That the association be the pioneer in hunting, the mysterious and the dangerous. The rewards will be great, but the risks are far greater and will likely put the association in great peril. We merely opened the door to this haunted house and turned heel, without crossing the threshold. This is not an order. Think of it as a fleeting dream of a dead man. I repeat, it's not an order. I repeat, it's not an order. Man, this is kind of tough because I don't know. They didn't want to touch it before now, but now his son is like, and he has a son? Beans, be honest. There are no other lost wills, right? No, well, as far as I know, that old man doesn't know how to go away. It doesn't feel like he's dead at all. The long hair means this was recorded before the other one. What do you say, Cheadle? Since it's an order, there is no other choice. Is she deaf? Is she deaf? It's not an order. He said that like it was repeated like 5 times, wasn't it? This is not an order. It's an order. He repeated it, and then at the very last, here at the bottom, it says it's an order. He can't do that. Someone edited the footage. It's not an order. Why would he say it's not an order? It's not an order. It's not an order. It's an order. How could he do that? Like, never in his life did they go there, but now that he's dead, he's like, okay, go there now. Go. Conquer it before my son. That's wild. Since he insists, wait. Since it's an order, there's no other choice. But since he insists it isn't, we can't get other members involved. Oh, it's the Zodiacs who says it's an order since Netero kept saying it's not. That's a... Oh, because... sorry. So, his text is in this little beepy... in the beepy box because it's video. And he keeps saying it's not an order, it's not an order. And then they're like, oh, it's an order. But it's not an order! But they're like, it's an order. But he's a dead man. And then she's like, since it's an order, there's no other choice. But since he insists it's not, we can't get other members involved. Just as Zodiacs. Hold on. I don't mind us going to the Dark Continent, but I'm against hunting beyond. The reason? Well, I'm contrary. It's too convenient how one takes care of the other. If we have the same goal, interfering with them doesn't sit well with me either. If it's a race between Hunter Association and Kakin, it's fair. Is it? The chairman's son has been preparing for decades. Have any of us ever considered going to the New World? As far as I know, I can think of only one such idiot. And then it it shows us Jing. And he seems to be in a very desolate part of somewhere. If Jing would help us, for argument's sake, that's fine, but he's already left. Even if he were here, he would insist on doing things by himself. It's not fair at all. Beyond is starting way ahead of us. The hunt must happen, as long as there's no incongruence with the chairman's orders. Sayu's and the Kanzai's opinions are pure sentimentality. Oh, yeah? Don't we need to verify whether the V5 is right or not before we hunt him down? They say it's to benefit mankind, but it's just a scramble for natural resources and land. 5 countries can't decide for the rest of the world. That's beyond what we as an NGO can meddle with. But our actions can indicate our intent. Don't get your priorities wrong. You'd put political belief above the chairman's last words? Whatever, too difficult. Just decide. What's this have to do with the hunt? Sorry, not paying attention. Can you two calm down? Cheadle hasn't even told us the reason for the hunt. Once he's charged with sedition or inciting a riot and the HA accepts the request, there will be a formal announcement. Oh, Lord, there's a lot of conversation going around here, and it's an interesting way to show it because there are 10 people, everyone's going to be saying something. And you're kind of like, I mean, I just found out about freaking Netero, this place, the King Cole, what they're the country? Oh, and now they have to like risk their lives. Netero himself said it's a different kind of strength. It's a battle against mother freaking nature. And I don't think it's like just, mother nature like a hike. Something is freaking ringing people around like towels. That's like going into space where aliens might be able to squash us with between their fingernails. I don't know. Uh-oh. So then Beans answers the phone. And on the other side, it looks like Beyond the Netero. Is that him? Yo, he kind of gives me Blackbeard, Thorkel energy. It's been a while, Beans. Those guys must be the Zodiacs. Can you contact the V5? Say that you caught Beyond Netero. They're all just staring at him with wide freaking eyes. Like, what the hell? Let's call it a quid pro quo, shall we? What is quid pro quo? Quid pro quo. It's a Latin phrase that translates to something for something or this for that. It describes a reciprocal arrangement of exchange of goods, services, or favors between two parties, where one transfer is strictly contingent upon the other. So he's saying basically he'll be captured for something. Okay, so then we're back to the guy that is from the organization, and he's reading this book about the Dark Continent that he's supposed to make a report on. The 5 threats humanity brought back from the Dark Continent. A sphere that protects mysterious ancient ruins. The botanical weapon, Bryon. So these are threats. Codependence of desire, a gaseous life form. I. A monster that infects its prey with homicidal desire, the twin snake, Hellbell, a trade off between life and pleasure, a beast that keeps people as pets, Pap. P A P P boop 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 boop. Sorry. Endless despair disguised as hope, Zobei, the immortality disease. This is no place humanity should go back to. So these are the 5 threats. A botanical weapon, the sphere that protects ancient ruins, but gaseous life forms. So these are just the things that were discovered there. And I don't understand this phrase, the 5 threats humanity brought back. Do they mean information? Like they brought information about these. This is the big 5. Like, oh, if you go to South Africa, you will find lions and the big 5, rhinoceros, elephant. But this continent has threats, not just cool animals to go look at, literal freaking life-threatening. A sphere, the botanical weapon Bryon, gaseous life forms I, a monster that infects its prey with homicidal desire, the twin snake Hellbell, a beast that keeps people as pets, Pup, P-A-P, and then endless despair disguised as hope, Zobe, the immortality disease. So obviously, I guess that guy we saw that was alive for 50 years, but he didn't need sustenance. That was someone that was infected with this disease, Zobe. Like zombie, but make it bay. I don't know. So, like, the hope behind it is immortality, but it looks like it drains all of your humanity. And the guy says, oh, okay, well, he says that this is no place that humanity should go. And then I turn the page and we see this. I'm from the dark continent. Did we know? We knew that, right? But Aluka, there's 2. Like, there's his sibling and then something else, right? Nanika. Aluka and Nanika, right? Oh, and Nanika means like nothing. Dun dun dun. So I think I'll probably stop there for today. I would have liked to do 3 chapters, but the recap was very necessary. And I do think it's a great introduction to the new arc with lots of new threats, and I don't know, it looks like it's going to be very kind of like body horror. Like we've had lots of different arcs with different kind of themes. We had like the thriller, crime thriller. We had this card game, Yu-Gi-Oh! And we had the what was the Chimera Ant arc was described as let me just quickly check. Horror war drama, a tragedy. So this seems like it's going to be like, it reminds me of, I haven't actually watched this, but it's called it's an anime about, and then people have like there's a finger and an eye and something with a P, it starts with a P, but it sounds like an S. Wait. Oh no, wait. I can't hide my anime because it will hide the planning ones too. Shit. It should not be this difficult for me to remember. I don't know. Saiger, Sai. Psycho, Parasite, and Psycho Pass. I think I was thinking of both of those. Because yeah, Parasite is the one with the fingers, but Psycho Pass is the name I was looking for. So I mixed up the two different shows, but it kind of reminded me of Parasite the Maxim, but maybe also Psycho Pass. But I think this is visually this is the one I was looking for. It's action, drama, horror, psychological, sci-fi. Yeah. So I think if the Chimera Ant arc was like this war, philosophy, tragedy kind of themes, this one is going to be very psychological, very horror and sci-fi-ish. Looks like it's going to be good though. Like I said, Beyond Netero definitely gives me Thorkel vibes, actually more Thorkel than Blackbeard. He seems interesting though. I think he will, like, a lot of people will be attracted to his kind of personality. He does seem very adventurous and, but kind of like at all costs adventure, you know, very. Mm. I did like the concept of the Zodiac, so it's gonna be cool to see them in action. Gon is currently with Kaito's team. I don't know where Jing is. He looked like he was in some impoverished back alley somewhere, but he's been preparing to go to the Dark Continent for a long while, and they might want to work with him. No idea what the rat is up to. Pariston. When I read his line, I imagined their voice as Thorkel. Wait, doesn't Thorkel and Blackbeard have the same voices? Yeah, he's definitely, if they're gonna do this as an anime, he would be the perfect casting. Um, so yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with where everyone is at the moment because there's a lot of players here. You know, the 10, the V5, Beyond Netero team, Gon and Kaito's team. Did they ever plan to go to the Dark Continent? Jing as his lone wolf self, and then where exactly? What was the last thing in the anime we know about Killua and his plans? What do you think we will see from the Dark Continent? Netero said it was mostly Mother Nature, but will we see Meruem level enemies? Duh. I'm telling you, we're gonna see horror, psychological sci-fi, body horror. It's going to be like, imagine exploring space, but it's still on Earth. You know, with, and there's aliens out there, like stuff that we just don't understand, the stuff that is way beyond our. It might be nature in name, but as I said before, it's not like going on a hike and having to camp without a tent and make your own fire. It's not that kind of nature. It's like imagine being like shrunk down to microscopic level and having to fight amoebas and shit. That's what I'm imagining. Like it's gonna be weird. I think. The last thing we know in the 2011 anime about Killua is actually pretty bittersweet. After saying Gon, After saving Gon by using Aluka slash Nanika, Killua reaches a huge emotional turning point. At the World 3, Gon finally meets Jing and completes the goal that started the series. That creates a strange new situation for Killua. For the most of the story, his purpose was basically stay Gon, help Gon, and protect Gon. But after the election arc, he realizes something painful that Gon has achieved his current dream, and Killua has been orienting his whole life around someone else. Meanwhile, Aluka has never had freedom. So Killua makes a decision. His plan is to travel with Aluka and protect her. He tells Gon that he's going on a Gon that he's going on a journey. His goals are basically to keep Alua safe from the Zoldyck family and let Aluka experience the world, and treat her like a real person and not a weapon, and find his own purpose. Why is every character except the main character so interesting? Kurapika, Leorio, and Killua. Wildly interesting. And then there's Gon. My dad abandoned me. I'm going to race after my dad. I'm joking. He's a kid and he's adventure, but and it's not really that he's like it's a very strong four-person show. Like Gon is the first one that was introduced, but I mean not about him per se. But yeah, out of the four, it's kind of funny to me how it goes. Like, they have all wildly interesting motivations and stories, and then I mean, Gon has some interesting motivations. I mean, he wants to get stronger. He wanted to meet his dad. His dad is a crazy guy, and that makes him kind of crazy, I guess. I wish he wanted his next goal was, hey, maybe I should meet my mom. I'm joking. I don't think we'll ever get. I think it's literally like, well, maybe. You never know. But yeah, jokes aside, if I had to choose a character to focus on for the next 100 chapters, even amongst the four main characters, because they are kind of all four of them are main, like there are other characters beyond the main characters that I would choose before I choose Gon. So the last one is the big one. For arguably the first time in his life, Killua chooses something that is truly his. His family always controlled him, then Illumi's needle influenced him, and then Gon became his emotional anchor. But now he's trying to become his own person. The train station farewell is one of Hunter x Hunter's most emotional scenes. Look what it gives here. Look what it gives here. Isn't this from Banana Fish? It's like, oh, this guy, there's a train station and here's a blonde guy. They might be the same person. Killua and Gon separate peacefully, promising to meet again. What's heartbreaking is that neither says a dramatic speech. It feels like real friendship, affection, or awkwardness, gratitude, and unspoken love. Killua smiles, but there's a sense of melancholy. A lot of fans read this as Killua's finally moving on from dependence to healthy love. He no longer needs Gon to define him. So, what was his concrete next destination? The anime does not specify. He leaves with Aluka and they begin traveling together. He intends to protect both Aluka and Nanika. He promises never to treat her as a monster again. I mean, Nanika. So the final status is alive, free, traveling, and for the first time, choosing his own future. And then this is always so weird to me. The chat says, one thing I really love about Killua's ending is that unlike Gon's story to find his dad, Killua's ending is intentionally open. His story is not complete because he finally understands the real question. What do I want? And that's where the anime leaves him. Honestly, Killua might have the most satisfying character arc in all of Hunter x Hunter. You feel that way? You? No. I think it's probably basing its opinion, obviously, on, what the internet says. So that might be like the most strong thread that he reads on all the forums and whatever. That's why I like asking for recaps from this kind of thing, because I can go and read everything and I might spoil myself in the process, but this can just summarize for me. So, hmm. Well, I'm going to go have something to eat. I'm still hungry, but just something small because I have to go to bed. I will definitely next time be able to read 3 chapters, but it will be on the whatever week we don't have One Piece. So it'll be once a month for now, which is, if I was reading it 1 per week, I would read 4. So I'm reading it 3 once a month. So technically 3 or 4, I mean, it's about the same as I would be reading if it was coming out weekly. So I don't think I don't want to rush it because it is limited. It's not like I have 1,000 chapters to read or even 50. How many do I have? No, I'm going to see my parents on Wednesday. So I swapped Tuesday and Wednesday, but Hanku's stepmother's father passed away. So we didn't know if they were going to be home tomorrow, and I want to see my dad and he wants to see his dad for Father's Day. So we kind of just gave them some extra time. Plus my mom also wants to come on Wednesday, not on Monday, because we're going to go there to see our dads, but I'm going to bring my mom back because she wants to come visit for a few days, but not from Monday. It's too long. So she wants to come from Wednesday. Something like that. So anyway, we're going on Wednesday. I do not know what I said here. I don't know what this joke was about anymore, but out of context, it's still hilarious. So what was I saying about? Oh, that's what I wanted to check. I want to see how many chapters I have. So I finished reading 341. The next one is called Challenge. And there is 410. That means I actually have quite a lot. 341. No. 410 minus 341 that's 69 chapters and 10 new ones coming out over the next 10. That's actually more than I thought. 70 chapters left. At 3 chapters a month, it will take about 2 years. That sounds longer than I thought, but honestly, I thought I only had 40 chapters max. Okay. Well, let's just take it 1 week at a time. Because let's see what happens after 10 weeks and the current finished chapters are, if they're released, what happens after that? Because Togashi has taken long breaks. It might take 2 years for 10 more chapters to come out, so there might be no rush. Does it seem like here's my question before I leave. Where the manga is at now, does it seem like it's winding up? He's releasing 10 chapters. Could it be like the end of the arc, the end of the story? Are things looking like they're going to wrap up soon? I get third act feels. So like this is the third act. Or there's a third act is coming. I don't know what that means. So the last third of the story is left. I think at least there are 40 more chapters. So there's 10 that are scheduled and you're guessing 30 more after that. And then it would be the end of the story. Oof. That's like 30 chapters is like endgame. So yeah, I would really, if after 10 chapters the next 10 are already ready again, or he takes another year break. Once we know, then I'll know if how much faster I need to read. So I think we have at least 10 weeks to see if I need to make faster, you know? Because I would like, when the last chapter comes out, I want to read it on the day that it comes out, you know? Or at least on the week that it comes out, but preferably on the day, because I don't want to be spoiled. No, they're the end of the arc, but whether he wants to make more, I can't imagine how the series to end. I just want Kurapika's story to conclude. Oh lord, if he doesn't continue Kurapika's story. But so wait, I'm guessing then in the 70 chapters that I have left to read, so it hasn't concluded? Ah! Ah! Okay. Well, let's wait and see. I think I'm going to give it, for the next 2 or 3 months, I'm going to keep at 3 or so chapters once a month. No rush. Like, enjoy it, let it settle. You guys were reading these very, like, one released here, one released there. So, you know, me reading at 3 a month is still decent, considering what you guys had to go through. Once we see what happens after the next 10 chapters that are prepared, well, then we'll see. How old is Togashi? He's 60! And he struggles with some health problems. He has not disclosed a specific medical diagnosis, but his condition has been debilitating enough that he has required surgery and must draw while lying down. He's 60. He should be retiring now, but maybe he's got a second wind. Japanese people do like to work until, like, if they can work, they will work. That's the thing with a lot of Japanese people. So we'll see. I still think that, you know, even if he wrote the light novel, I'd read that. Like, if he doesn't want to draw, if he just wants to say the story, I don't know, fine. But we'll see, because I heard that some chapters are kind of like a lot of text. So we'll see. But thank you guys for a very fun. Yeah, that's good. At least he has more assistance now. The thing is, he's 60, so that makes me feel like this could be the last, if it's currently winding up an arc in about 30 chapters or something after the next 10. I don't know, would you really commit after 6, but yeah, he's Japanese, so they would come. How old is Oda? He's 51. He's 9 years younger. Who was the oldest mangaka? The oldest mangaka to ever live. No, no, no. I want to be. So, Kazuo Umezu died at 88. Having remained active in the industry until late in life, he is considered one of the oldest prominent creators. Shigeru Mizuki from Gegege no Kitaro remained active as a mangaka until his passing in 2015 at age 93. Takao Saito, the creator of Japan's longest-running manga, Golgo 13, published the series until he passed away in 2021 at the age of 84. Nazuna Saito, a contemporary senior mangaka who made her debut at age 40 and remains actively publishing thought-provoking stories about aging and dementia. That was random. If you want to dive deeper into the history of the medium, I can provide a list of blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me just send something. The oldest ongoing manga series still being published is Golgo 13. But is it still the same mangaka? Oh, but we'll see. Who writes Ippo? Dororo was originally intended to be just the prologue to a much larger story. However, its author passed away before he had the chance to continue and write the rest. The legendary boxing manga is both written and illustrated by the manga artist George Morikawa. He has been drawing and publishing the series in Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine since 1989. He is currently 60 years old. Well, I think my final thoughts is they're Japanese. If it's possible for them to work until the age of 80, they will choose to do it because they're really passionate about I think contributing to society, like it's a cultural thing. That doesn't mean they should, especially when it comes to health. But I don't think that Togashi or his wife is the kind of people like that they understand that. Like Togashi, when he needed to take off, he took off. So my belief is that if he can continue, he will. So there might be a lot of story left, you know? There are times that Ippo looks like it's only halfway. It could reach 3,000 chapters. Yeah, long stories, let's go. Okay, but thank you guys for hanging out with me this weekend. I'm going to end the video and the stream at the same time. I think like today was a lot of fun, but probably my favorite was yesterday's Pokemon. Even though I played for 9 hours, it honestly feels like at the end of the day I was kind of sad because I felt like 9 hours went like that. It felt like a 4 hour stream. No freaking jokes. So my weekend feels like it's over very, very fast because it's like Friday, Pokemon goes super fast, and then it's Sunday. And then I'm like, where did my Saturday go? 9 hours of Pokemon wasn't enough. But so talking about Hajime no Ippo, I will be starting the anime on Tuesday. So I have one day off. Then I'm recording Witch Hat and Ippo. I currently have 6 episodes listed, but it kind of depends. It could be 5. depending on the content. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to see my parents. I'm going to go to their house. And on Thursday, I have a really early appointment. But I'll be recording Dr. Stone, Slime OVAs, and Mushishi. I'm finishing the first season of Mushishi, by the way. And I'll be back to streaming on Friday for more Zenless. Starting DBS manga on Saturday, followed by only 5 hours of Pokemon. Sorry. And then I have to put up a poll for my level 3 patrons. So if you haven't yet, if you're a level 3 patron and you haven't made a movie recommendation, make sure to go do that, because at the moment I have Nightcrawler, The Sandlot, The Matrix 2, Airplane, Edge of Tomorrow, Big Mama's House, Kingdom of Heaven, Kill Bill. But I heard, I don't know, Kill Bill's a tough one because I heard it's really violent. So it's maybe not the best kind of Twitch movie. But I didn't limit. Oh no. I my limitations were keep it under 2 hours if possible and no scary movies. Quite the curveball. And then there's also The Forbidden Kingdom and Hellboy, Ford versus Ferrari. So those are all the, I hope that wins. There are some boobs that not sure how are we going to avoid. Uh-oh. Airplane. Okay, I'm not going to look it up. We'll see what wins, but I'm just letting you know the poll will be up like in the next day or two. So make sure to go put your comment if you haven't already. Thank you, Dark Shadow. Thank you, Nox. Thank you, Espada. Kingdom of Heaven is a religious movie, so I don't know if that's a good one. It received badly in 2005. Religious movie? Your first recommendation was Tarzan. And I was like, I've seen that many times. I've seen all the Disney many times. All the Disney movies. Kingdom of Heaven is the only movie that made me fall asleep in the cinema. Wait, we don't have the next X-Men? Well, no one recommended it. So we'll see. But okay, thank you everyone. I had a lot of fun. I'm very excited about more Hunter x Hunter. It seems like it's going to be a very interesting arc. I really hope and wish something as huge as the freaking Dark Continent. I know it's a bit of a big wish, very unlikely, you know, after everyone has gone their own paths, but I want the Dark Continent giant freaking exploration to like kind of get the team back together again, like the main four. Phil Collins goes hard on the Tarzan soundtrack. I wanna know, can you show me? Dun, 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 dun. Yes, I had that CD. I listened to it many times as a kid. That one and the Pokemon one. Okay. Have a good week. And I'm looking forward to the next weekend streams as always. And I'll see you guys on the Discord. Don't forget to roll and get them keys. Bye.